The sun cast its golden rays upon the seemingly perfect suburban home of the Smiths. Alex and Ryan, stepbrothers from their parents' previous marriages, lived together under one roof, their lives intertwined like the branches of the ancient oak tree shading their front yard. Their parents, Corinne and Tom, had always envisioned a harmonious blended family. However, the reality was far from it. Alex and Ryan had never quite gotten along. Their strained relationship was a delicate dance of passive-aggressive jabs and veiled insults, exacerbated by their parents' constant pressure to get along. One sweltering summer afternoon, Alex, 19, and Ryan, 20, as Alex stood up to grab a towel, their eyes met. For a fleeting moment, something shifted. A spark of attraction, long suppressed, flashed between them. Ryan quickly looked away, his heart racing. Alex, too, felt the flutter in his chest. The tension was palpable. They exchanged awkward smiles, and Alex muttered, "You okay?" Ryan nodded, his eyes still cast down. "Yeah." The air was thick with unspoken emotions. Their parents' voices echoed in their minds, "Get along, boys. Be brothers. But in that instant, they both knew their relationship had transcended sibling rivalry. As they parted ways, the silence between them was heavy with secrets yet to be spoken. Little did they know, their lives were about to take a drastic turn. The Smiths' residence was bathed in an eerie silence as Corinne and Tom departed for their week-long business trip. Alex and Ryan watched their parents' car disappear into the distance, a mix of excitement and trepidation swirling in their chests. The absence of their parents' watchful eyes ignited a spark within them. They began to relax, letting their guards down. Alex cranked up the music, and they spent the evening lounging by the pool, sharing stories and laughter. As night descended, they retreated indoors, settling into their respective rooms. But the tension between them was palpable. The hallway seemed to shrink, the distance between their rooms dwindling. Ryan found himself wandering to Alex's room, the door slightly ajar. Alex looked up from his phone, their eyes locked in a charged moment. Without a word, Ryan stepped inside, closing the door behind him. The air was electric. They stood face to face, hearts pounding. Alex's hand reached out, hesitantly, and brushed against Ryan's. The touch sent shivers down their spines. They leaned in, lips meeting in a tender, exploratory kiss. The room melted away, leaving only the thrum of their hearts. Their passion intensified, fueled by years of suppressed desire. The encounter was frenzied yet intimate, a release of pent-up emotions. Afterward, they lay entwined, gasping for air. Reality slowly seeped back in, fear crept into their eyes. "What if Mom and Dad find out?" Ryan whispered. "We can't let them," Alex replied, voice laced with urgency. "We have to keep this a secret." Ryan nodded, his face etched with worrying. "What if someone else discovers us?" Alex pulled him closer. "We'll deal with that later. For now, let's just enjoy this." Their whispers turned to soft kisses, sealing their secret. Little did they know, their hidden relationship would become a ticking time bomb, waiting to shatter their lives forever. As the days passed, Alex and Ryan's secret relationship intensified. Stolen moments became their currency, cherished and savored. They'd steal glances, exchange flirtatious smiles, and sneak kisses in hidden corners of the house. But maintaining the facade of sibling rivalry proved daunting. They'd often snap at each other, their animosity convincing enough to fool their parents, but frustratingly artificial. Tensions simmered beneath the surface, threatening to boil over. Ryan's girlfriend, Emily, began to suspect something amiss. She'd catch Ryan gazing longingly at Alex, his eyes betraying his true emotions. Her questioning glances turned accusatory. "Is everything okay between you and Alex?" Emily asked one evening. Ryan brushed her concerns aside. "We're just stressed, that's all." Meanwhile, Alex's best friend, Jake, noticed a change in his behavior. "Dude, you seem distant. Everything cool?" Jake asked. Alex attributed his distraction to school pressures. "Just stressed, man." Their deception weighed heavily on their conscience. Guilt and anxiety gnawed at their relationship, causing fissures. Volatile arguments erupted, fueled by pent-up emotions. One evening, Ryan confronted Alex. "We can't keep living like this. The lies, the secrecy, it's suffocating me. Alex's eyes flashed defiance. You want to risk everything. Our parents will disown us, Ryan's voice cracked. I'd rather be honest and face the consequences. Their argument escalated, voices raised, until they stood inches apart, chests heaving. The air vibrated with unspoken words. Suddenly, Alex's lips crashed onto Ryan's, silencing their rage. Passionate reconciliations became their pattern, fiery arguments giving way to all-consuming kisses. Emily's suspicions had been growing for weeks. She followed Ryan to Alex's room, her heart racing. The door was ajar, revealing a scene that made her blood run cold. Ryan and Alex were entwined on the bed, their lips locked in a passionate kiss. Emily's world crumbled. She felt betrayed, her heart shattered. With a trembling voice, Emily confronted Ryan, his face turned ashen as he tried to explain. Alex sprang from the bed, eyes blazing with fury. In a flash, Alex lunged at Emily, his hands closing around her throat. Ryan screamed, horrified, but frozen in shock. Alex's grip tightened, his face twisted in rage. Ryan's paralysis broke, and he tackled Alex, trying to pry him off. But it was too late. Emily's lifeless body slumped to the floor. The room fell silent, except for Ryan's anguished sobs. Alex stood, panting, his eyes wide with horror, the reality of his actions sunk in. Ryan's gaze met Alex's, filled with revulsion and despair. Alex's expression crumpled, his eyes pleading for forgiveness. But Ryan turned away, his body racked with sobs. The brothers' secret had become a deadly burden. Their relationship, once a forbidden love, had spawned a horrific tragedy. Ryan's world was shattered. He stared at Emily's lifeless body, his mind reeling in horror. Alex's actions were unfathomable. He felt sick, his stomach churning with guilt and revulsion. "We have to tell the police," Ryan whispered, his voice trembling. Alex's grip on his arm tightened. "No, Ryan, we can't. They'll never understand." Ryan shook his head, trying to break free. "We can't hide this, Alex. It's murder." Alex's eyes turned cold, his voice menacing. "If we confess, our parents will know about us." "Is that what you want?" Ryan hesitated, fear creeping in. Alex's words struck a chord. Their secret relationship would be exposed, jeopardizing everything. With a heavy heart, Ryan agreed to cover up the crime. They concocted an alibi, planting evidence to mislead the police, but guilt and paranoia consumed them. Detective Jameson arrived, eyes scanning the scene. The detective's gaze lingered, sensing inconsistencies. As the police scoured the house, Ryan and Alex exchanged nervous glances. Their alibi began to unravel. The weight of their secret crushed them, threatening to expose their truth. In the shadows, Ryan's anguish grew. He was trapped between loyalty to his brother and the burden of his conscience. The line between truth and deception blurred, foreboding a catastrophic reckoning. The truth crept out, slowly, like blood seeping from a wound. Detective Jameson's relentless pursuit uncovered inconsistencies in Ryan and Alex's alibi. The brothers' façade crumbled beneath the weight of evidence. One fateful evening, the police arrived with warrants. Alex's eyes widened as handcuffs closed around his wrists. "Alexander Smith, you're under arrest for the murder of Emily Wilson." Ryan watched, numb, as his brother was led away. The secret they'd fought to conceal was finally exposed. The news spread like wildfire. Their parents, Corinne and Tom, were stunned, their world shattered. "How could our sons?" Corinne trailed off, tears streaming. Tom's face contorted in anguish. "Why didn't they come to us?" Ryan's guilt consumed him. He'd enabled Alex's crime, fearing exposure. Now, he faced the devastating consequences. In court, Alex's defense crumbled. The evidence was overwhelming. The verdict, guilty of first-degree murder. As Alex was sentenced to life without parole, Ryan felt the weight of his complicity. He'd sacrificed Emily's life to protect their secret. The family fragmented, each member grappling with shame, guilt, and grief. Corinne and Tom's marriage faltered, strained by the unbearable truth. Ryan's relationships crumbled, his friends and peers shunned him. Isolation enveloped Ryan. He became a shadow of his former self, haunted by Emily's memory. His conscience screamed for forgiveness, but redemption seemed impossible. In the silence, Ryan whispered to himself, "What have we done?" The echo of his words lingered, a stark reminder of the destruction their secrets had wrought. In the aftermath of the tragedy, the devastating consequences of secrets and deception became painfully clear. Ryan and Alex's hidden relationship, born of fear and shame, had spawned a destructive cycle of lies, guilt, and ultimately murder. Their story serves as a haunting reminder that honesty, though difficult, is always the best policy. The weight of their secrets had crushed them, leading to irreversible destruction. Ryan's painful journey revealed that fear of judgment can be crippling, causing individuals to enable harmful behaviors and sacrifice their own well-being. His inability to accept himself and seek help had nearly destroyed him. The fractured relationships within the family underscored the importance of communication, trust, and support. Corinne and Tom's shattered marriage served as a testament to the devastating impact of unresolved issues. Alex's refusal to accept responsibility for his actions prolonged his and Ryan's suffering, highlighting the necessity of accountability for personal growth. Ryan's struggle to cope with his guilt demonstrated the overwhelming power of unresolved emotions. Their narrative emphasizes the vital importance of self-acceptance, societal acceptance, and accessible mental health support. The destructive forces of secrecy and shame had ravaged their lives, leaving behind irreparable damage. This heart-wrenching tale reminds us that redemption begins with honesty, forgiveness, and acceptance. Only by confronting our darkest fears and embracing our true selves can we break free from the shackles of secrecy and deception.